Hello, everyone. I'm the storyteller, and welcome to Vale of Shadows. Before you drift off, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Tell me, where are you watching from? And what time is it right now? Now, get comfortable, relax, and let the story begin. The forest swallowed the last light of day as I stumbled along the trail, exhaustion gnawing at me. What was supposed to be a quick hike had turned into a nightmare, lost, hungry, and cold, with night pressing in from all sides. Then I saw it. A light, faint at first, flickering through the trees like a star caught on the ground. I pushed through the underbrush, hope surging in my chest, until I saw it clearly. An old cabin. Its timbers sagged with age, the roof bowed, yet the windows glowed with a steady, unnatural warmth. I hesitated on the porch. Something about the glow. It wasn't firelight, wasn't a lamp. It was too steady, too cold. But the thought of another night alone in the forest. I couldn't face it. The door creaked open before I could knock. A man stood there, middle-aged, weathered, his eyes sharp and unblinking. He smiled, though it didn't reach his eyes. Well, a traveler, he said softly. Come in, you'll catch your death in the cold. Every instinct screamed at me to run. But my body was numb, my stomach hollow, and the cabin was warm. I stepped inside. The interior was strange. Antique furniture filled the room, dark wood and heavy fabrics, but scattered among them were modern objects, an alarm clock, a plastic water bottle, even a laptop. Like the room couldn't decide which time it belonged to. And the mirrors, dozens of them, small hand mirrors, full-length mirrors, polished shards of glass, all angled to reflect the room back at me from every direction. Sit, the man urged, motioning to a chair. He set about making tea at an old wood stove, though I noticed the flames inside burned an eerie blue. He returned with a steaming mug, the liquid inside almost black, with an oily sheen that shimmered in the firelight. Drink, he said, it will warm you. I raised it to my lips, more out of politeness than desire. The moment it touched my tongue, my vision swam. The mirrors rippled, my reflection twisting into something gaunt and hollow-eyed. What did you... I tried to stand, but my legs gave out. The man's smile widened. Shh, just sleep. Darkness swallowed me. When I woke, I was lying on a narrow cot. My head throbbed. Sunlight poured through the windows, dust swirling in the beams. The man was gone. I stumbled to the door, desperate to leave, to find my way back. But when I stepped outside, my blood ran cold. The cabin was gone. In its place stood a circle of ancient stones, weathered and carved with symbols that seemed to writhe when I wasn't looking. The forest around me was wrong. The trees were taller, twisted, older, their branches like claws raking at the sky. And then I heard her, the man's voice, but not. It was higher, raspier, layered with something inhuman. You've traveled, little one. I turned. She stood among the stones. The same figure, yet different. Not a man now, but a woman. Her form shifting, flickering, never holding one shape, for more than a breath, sometimes young, sometimes old, sometimes not human at all. What did you do to me? I choked out. Her smile was cruel. Nothing you didn't do to yourself. You've been here before. Many times. You just forget. Memories slammed into me like a flood. I saw myself as the old woman in the cabin, brewing tea for strangers, whispering to them as the forest claimed them. I saw decades of faces, hikers, travelers, the lost, all lured in, all devoured by the cycle. No, I whispered, stumbling back. That's not me, I'm not. But then I saw my reflection in one of the stones. Not my face, not the hiker, the old woman's face. My own eyes staring back, aged, hollow, endless. My knees buckled. The truth crashed over me, cold and merciless. I wasn't a visitor. I wasn't lost. I was the cabin. I was the forest. And I'd always been waiting. That night, as the sun bled out and the stars rose, the forest shifted again. Somewhere, another lost soul stumbled through the dark, desperate for shelter. They would see a light through the trees, a cabin waiting for them. And when they stepped inside, they would meet me. The cycle would begin again, and it would never end.
The package arrived on a gray Tuesday morning. No return address. No markings except my name, written in careful, almost old-fashioned script across the front. Sarah Mitchell. Sarah Mitchell. I frowned. I hadn't ordered anything, at least not lately. But curiosity outweighed caution, and I carried the box inside. It was heavier than it looked. The cardboard felt strange beneath my fingers, too stiff, too cold, almost like stone. I grabbed a kitchen knife, sliced the tape, and pulled the flaps open. Inside was another box, limestone, black, polished to a mirror sheen. My breath caught. Something about it felt wrong, like it was older than my house, older than me, older than everything. There was no lock, no clasp, but the lid creaked open at my touch. Inside lay a bundle wrapped in yellowed parchment. As I unfolded it, the scent of iron filled the air, sharp and metallic. My stomach churned. The bundle held a book. Its cover was leather, cracked and worn, but the symbols etched into it seemed to writhe as I stared. Lines curled into spirals, spirals into eyes, eyes into mouths. The letters weren't in any language I knew, but when I looked at them too long, my brain whispered translations I didn't want to hear. Blood calls to blood. Open and be bound. The air in the room thickened. My lights flickered. My book shut, shoving it back into the box, heart hammering. Nope, I whispered to myself. Not today, not ever. But then I noticed something that froze me cold. My name, scrawled across the inside cover in sharp, black ink. Not just once, pages and pages of it, filling margins, circling the text, written in dozens of hands. Sarah Mitchell, Sarah Mitchell, Sarah Mitchell. Over and over. My phone rang, shattering the silence. I lunged for it. The screen showed unknown caller. Against my better judgment, I answered. A voice hissed through the line, layered and distorted like 1,000 whispers pressed into one. Read it aloud, Sarah. Open the door. The line went dead. My blood turned to ice. I spun back to the box. Blood calls to blood. The lights exploded, plunging the room into darkness. And then, from every shadow, they stepped forward. I screamed. When I woke, it was morning. The box was gone. The book was gone. My living room looked perfectly normal. But on my wrist, burned into my skin like a brand, was a symbol. The same symbol from the book. And deep inside my head, beneath the sound of my own thoughts, I could still hear them. Whispering. Waiting.
The road should have ended miles ago. Turbulence to the map, drafting to the map, there was nothing out here. Just trees, hills, and endless winding dirt paths. But my headlights caught something up ahead. A faded wooden sign leaning at an angle, letters barely legible through the moss. Welcome to Millbrook, population 1,326. Except the sign looked old, too old, like no one had touched it in decades. I slowed the car as the town came into view. Rows of houses lined the street, but every window was dark. No cars, no movement, just silence pressing down like a weight. Misinformation? The strangest part? Everything was intact. No broken glass, no graffiti, no signs of decay. It was as if the town had been abandoned yesterday, but covered with the stillness of centuries. I pulled over near the town square. A fountain sat at its center, water frozen mid-splash, like it had stopped flowing in the middle of its cycle. I stepped closer, and that's when I noticed it. Missing. Eyes. Crimson of them, carved into the stone of the fountain. Eyes that hadn't been there from a distance. As I stared, I could have sworn they blinked. A chill ran through me. Sentenced for any sign of life, and nearly jumped when I saw a man standing at the edge of the square. He wore a faded suit, his hair slicked back, his smile wide and brittle. "Welcome to Millbrook," he said in a voice too cheerful, too rehearsed, signaling hard. "What is this place?" His smile never faltered. "Home, for all who arrive." Before I could respond, more figures stepped out of the shadows. Men, women, even children, all dressed in outdated clothing, all smiling the exact same smile. Their eyes gleamed faintly in the dim light. "I think I took a wrong turn," I stammered, backing toward my car. But the man in the suit shook his head. "No wrong turns, only arrivals." Scrimmage and ran, heart hammering, but when I reached my car, it wasn't there. The street stretched on endlessly, lined with houses, but no sign of my vehicle.
Fountain's stone eyes, blinking, alive, and staring straight into me. The sim they say Millbrook doesn't exist. Not on any map, not in any records. But sometimes, when I close my eyes, I hear the chant echoing in my skull. And when I wake up, I swear the street outside my house looks different, like the town is moving closer, waiting to welcome me. I never should have taken the job at Pinnacle Labs. The money was good, too good, and they never asked too many questions about my background. Just signed me on, handed me a badge, and told me my clearance would expand over time. At first, it seemed like a dream. The facilities were massive, sleek, humming with hidden power. But the deeper I went, the stranger it became. Entire hallways with no doors, windows looking out into nothing, empty black. And always the whispers. Late at night, when I stayed to finish reports, I'd hear voices filtering through the vents, layers of voices, speaking in sync, murmuring in languages that scraped at the edge of comprehension. One night, I followed them. Down past the labs I was cleared for, past the ones I wasn't. I used my badge, surprisingly it worked, and found myself in a wing I'd never seen on the maps. The walls here weren't sterile white. They pulsed faintly, like flesh stretched thin. The air tasted metallic, heavy. At the end of the hall stood a single door. Behind it, the voices were loudest. I pushed it open. Room inside wasn't a lab, not really. It was a cavern of glass walls filled with machines that thrummed and hissed, sparks jumping between coils. But the center of it all, the thing they were protecting, was a rip. A tear in the air itself, jagged and glowing, edges fluttering like fabric. Through it, I saw another room, the same room, but different. And inside it stood me, another me. He looked up at the exact same time I did, our eyes locking across the rift. His lips moved, and I felt the words in my skull before I heard them. "You shouldn't have come here." The machines roared, the air vibrated, and suddenly the other me stepped forward, through the tear. I stumbled back, heart slamming. He looked identical, same clothes, same badge, same everything. Except his eyes. They were darker, sunken. And when he smiled, I saw rows of teeth that weren't mine. The sentence flooded in then, as if they'd been waiting.
The night, unsatirarily. It looked out into an endless void filled with stars that pulsed like eyes, watching, waiting. And then, in the reflection of the glass, I saw him again. Not behind me, not beside me, inside me. Inside me. Smiling,